Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
I need your ID to give you a fine because you don't.
Under what condition?
Right now?
Because you don't respect the health, the public health law.
Depends what you demand.
And we need an ID to give you a fine. So if you don't give us an ID or give us your name and date of birth and address, we will arrest you for that.
It was quite an event for the kids because they were really surprised by what was happening. And it quickly changed their reactions into a little bit of fear. And I think that I never expected that they would show up in such great numbers. As well, they were swarming my backyard. There was 2 of them in the backyard at a different point when we were singing happy birthday.
Is that why you were standing in the backyard as well? Trespassing on our property because you thought we might run out the back door?
And they
We
can do
need
whatever you
your
want.
ID.
You were in the backyard?
I know you got
At the back door?
Got up to
You
do
were.
it and everybody-
And under
and
what
everybody started
law
that. I'll be
for
honest with
you
sir,
to come into
everybody
the
started
backyard
that,
was
but
that?
unfortunately-
I was kind of shocked, and it was abundantly clear that a neighbor had ratted on us. This is what you call. This is certainly one of the signs of a developing police state, where snitching it becomes the rule of the day.
A year has passed by since Canadians have been forced to live with COVID-19 restrictions, and it's quite clear that Canada is far from the true north, strong and free. And a perfect example of that is today's Fight the Fine story, where an entire family is now lawbreakers because they tried to give a couple of the children in the family a piece of normality. Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News. And stay home and stay safe. Those commands that were given to us by our government, they're a farce, especially for many who are youth. Suicide rates are up for youth. Suicide was already the second biggest killer of Canada's kids pre-COVID-19. I'm worried to see what the statistics are going to be after we get them for the year of 2020. But it's not just that. Even things like online predators are on the rise because children are being told that the only thing they can do is stay home to stay safe. They've got nothing better to do than stare at a screen. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of these side effects to come. And if a parent decides that their child needs something so crucial that we've always identified as good for their health, which is, celebrating something for them, like a birthday per se, with loved ones, well, that can get your entire family fined thousands of dollars, and then the police to follow you days later at your place of work, at your business, just to see what's going on. That's what this story is. It's another Fight the Fines case. If you guys aren't familiar with what that is, that's where Rebel News and viewers like you, our supporters, we come together through our special website called fightthefines.com. Whatever you donate goes towards hiring top-notch lawyers to fight the tyrannical fines that Canadians have been receiving for things like birthday parties and even in some cases charges. We've had a couple of wins recently. For example, some of the small business owners who received criminal sorts of charges for staying open so that they could feed their family and provide an income for their employees. Now, please head to fightthefines.com to join that fight with us. But today, I want to introduce you to Miller, the Miller family. I mean, you've got parents, you've got aunts, you've even got grandpa that came together in a small gathering to celebrate two cousins in the family, their birthday together. No extra friends or anything like that. The police showed up, the police entered, and they were all fined. I'll let them tell you the story, and we're also going to speak to their lawyer that we have hired for them, Christina Mukari, who is ready to fight each and every fine that each adult that was present received. Now, Tanya, yours and Shane's daughter was one of the cousins who you guys were celebrating a birthday of. Now, tell us a little bit about why it was important for you guys to gather as a family and celebrate the kid's birthday.
Because Shane and I feel that it's important for our children to have social interactions. We've chosen with Katie and Akash and Gord that we would like to keep a family bubble and have our kids socialize and get together. And considering it was a milestone and both my niece and Alex Ava's birthday, we chose as parents that it was the right choice for our children to get together.
Yeah, I'm a parent too. And I think a big goal of mine during life with COVID-19 has been to try to keep things as normal as possible for them. I think that's a very healthy way to do it. Now, did you ever expect that police would be crashing your daughter's birthday party?
No, and it was quite an event for the kids because they were really surprised by what was happening. And it quickly changed their reactions into a little bit of fear. And I think that I never expected that they would show up in such great numbers. As well, they were swarming my backyard. There was 2 of them in the backyard at a different point when we were singing happy birthday, which really surprised me. I didn't know how they actually got back there with all the snow and didn't know that we were doing something so serious that it needed the attention of cops standing in our yard.
Yeah, and one of you, I'm not sure which one will play it here, actually questions the officer about, what were you doing in the backyard?
Is that why you were standing in the backyard as well, trespassing on our property because you thought we might run out the back door?
And they
We
can do
give
whatever
me
you
your
want.
ID.
More of you to
Did
come on.
you were
Just
in the
stand up.
backyard?
I know you've got
At the back door.
Got up to
You
do
were.
and everybody-
And under what
everybody started
law
that. I'll be
for
honest with
you to
sir,
come into
everybody
the
started
backyard
that,
was
but
that?
unfortunately, some
Just
people,
because
they don't respect it. We
you
will
don't
still have
respect
to
the
do
law
so.
and you
Well,
don't
that's
want the
what that
person
And so you don't
to
respect
leave.
the law too? Is that what
But if
I
you don't agree
understand?
with it, like I said,
If
it's
you
just
want to
fine.
go to the court and
problem is
explain
your
yourself, or
I will
just
have to.
It's not you
or
guys.
if
But
you
it's not
want
management right now. All we're
to
asking for you is collaboration for everybody.
bring
And
us to the
apparently
court
this
because you
seems to be
don't
difficult. People
don't
Well,
think we do our job
it's
correctly, it's
because
okay.
of-
We'll have you will be able to do it.
I know
But
you
right
feel
now-
you're doing your job.
But right now, I need a piece of
No,
ID
it is
to
because
make
of-
sure
I'm gonna
ask you
to
maybe just to settle
identify
aside because
yourself
people aren't gonna
correctly.
bubble.
Now, Gordon, Grandpa, Pops, or is it Papa you go by?
Pop is what the kids call me, yeah.
Okay, now you actually reached out to me to let us know what happened to you guys, but a bunch of you, let me know how many received fines well over $1,000, right?
That's right. The reason I reached out to you is because Shane, Tanya, Kosh, they all have businesses. I mean, they're in desperate shape under these lockdowns and what have you, and
Yeah.
particularly the dance studio and the CrossFit gym.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought they don't have a lot of time, so I'll take it under my wing to organize this and to follow up on all the tickets. And that's why I was following up with Fight the Fines.
Yeah,
And so here we are.
right. So thousands.
So I'm kind of the organizer, but I was just the grandfather there for my 2 granddaughters.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I was kind of shocked.
Mhm.
And it was abundantly clear that a neighbor had ratted on us. This is what you call, this is certainly one of the signs of a developing police state
Mhm.
where snitching it becomes the rule of the day. And so I think I'm probably as appalled by this as my son and daughter and in-laws and what their children had to go through.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nail. I'm not sure what's more concerning, the fact that police officers are kind of pushing their oath aside, or that neighbors are turning in other neighbors for celebrating a kid's birthday party. Now, you guys also question the officers that night about the oath that they've taken as well.
You recognize that you have broken your oath by doing this.
I did not recognize anything. All I'm telling you right now is that you're being under infraction.
See, he doesn't recognize it.
All I'm telling you right now is that you're under infraction and that you need to identify yourself.
The Police Services Act that you're working under and the oath that you take is to protect my rights.
Yep.
My rights under
No,
our
I'm there to protect your safety. That's the first thing.
Under
Your
our-
rights are
our-
fought in court.
Well,
If you believe that your rights are
they're being infringed right now.
Well, the federal charter supersedes the provincial charter.
Okay, but I'm just
I'm not
saying.
arresting you right now. I'm just asking for a piece of ID.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get your piece of ID. I'm gonna give you a ticket,
Okay.
and you're gonna have the chance to fight it in court. So right now,
Right.
nothing's wrong with that. Okay, you can do all the fighting in court.
You're actually in violation of your sworn oath to the Charter of Rights and
Well, you
Freedoms.
can make a complaint for that if you
But
feel.
but the thing is, you will be, but you can be held personally liable.
Well, you can make a complaint for that, and you can do whatever you want. But
So
as of
so it
now,
doesn't care to you guys. You guys don't care.
All we're asking for you right now is a piece of ID.
I understand that, but you are,
Just give us a piece of ID then.
you already have my ID.
Okay.
The point is that you guys are actually personally liable for breaching your oath.
Well, you can do whatever you want if you want to file a complaint at the police station.
Well, I think you guys are all going to be very upset about it.
I will say that out of several that I spoke to briefly, one of them kind of listened a little bit, and I made the suggestion to him that, you know, there may be some others at your station who are questioning whether you should be doing this. And if there are, it would be wonderful if we would all have a good talk together.
Absolutely.
And he sort of didn't say anything, but he listened. And I respect that. And I really think the problem is that these young officers, I mean, they grew up under the educational system that really is indoctrinating as opposed to educating. And yes, they take an oath. And yes, they do a lot of training. And yes, they do a wonderful job, generally speaking. You know, I have nothing but respect for them. But, you know, they don't really understand the law, and they don't understand what their position is in these kind of circumstances that are a little bit not so plain vanilla.
Right. Now, one of you, it seemed to me, it was a very dark video, but it seemed to me that there was sort of a breakthrough moment where maybe the officers were hearing a little bit, and one of you was talking to the officers about police on guard for thee. Do you think you were breaking through any layers there when you were having that discussion with the officers?
Well, we were outside with them for about almost over an hour in the cold. So we had a lot of time to have a conversation with them after they had done their ticketing process. For them to hand us 7 fines, it took at least an hour of manually writing out these fines and it occurred to me, well, why is it taking so long? They can't just plug this into their computer because there isn't actually a law behind what they're writing. There's rules and they're following the rules. So I was just asking them if they had this understanding that there's a group of police in a group called Police on Guard for Thee. It was spearheaded with retired police and people in law enforcement who have finished their careers. So these are people that have 35, 40 years of experience in their field, in these cities, like where they live here. And they are very concerned right now about the position that active police officers are being put in. They are being forced to follow these rules that do not follow law.
Yes, no, I definitely think that was an important moment. Now, you were also talking to them. You were trying to better understand exactly what you guys are being fined thousands and thousands of dollars on. And the officers, they kind of danced around that conversation. Let's take a look.
I need your ID to give you a fine because you don't.
Under what condition? Right now?
Because you don't respect the health, the public health law. And we need an ID to give you a fine. So if you don't give us an ID or give us your name and date of birth and address, we will arrest you for that. Okay?
Okay. And what is the health law? What health law have I broken?
You know it.
No, I don't. I'd like you to explain to me the health law that I've broken.
My partner here already tell you everything.
So miss, I'm gonna ask you again. I'm gonna need a piece of ID right now. Okay?
And I'd like to understand
What is the
Well, I already
ticket that you'll
explained.
be writing?
We don't
It's
understand.
going to
You
be
need
a
to explain
fine
it
for
better.
not respecting getting a get-together under the public health law that's been
Can you
passed.
explain
This
to
is what
me-
I'm telling you. There's nothing else to explain. You're not supposed to get together. This is what has been decreed by the government right now, and there's a law about it. So now we can issue you a fine for that. This is what I'm asking you an ID. So we keep asking the same questions. Now I'm asking you again for your ID.
I do not understand, and I would like you to specifically state which law I am not respecting.
Okay, so
You will have the number
have-
exactly in the fine.
No,
So you
first
will
I would
know-
like you to
okay,
tell me
but
what
that's
the
not how
fine
it works,
is.
unfortunately. Okay, so now I'm asking you for a piece of
Of
ID.
course, it's how it works. You can't
You
have
can't
to
find
tell us
me
what we're-
without
what
me
we're
understanding what
You,
I am.
you
already
will have
explained to
everything
you.
on the
If we
fine,
don't
and we
understand,
have,
you need to explain it to us.
Okay, if I'm pulling you over for a stop, I don't have to tell you which exactly article is on the stop. It's
You-
under the Highway Safety Code. I give you a fine for that. I don't have
That's
to give you
different
this.
than this.
No, it's not
This is
different
the
business.
basic-
This is
this
just
is
a fine. It's
That's
under the
a-
penal code. Okay, you can look it up if you want to. All right. So now I'm asking you for a piece of ID. Okay, I think I've been patient enough right now, and I've been asking you, and I've been polite with you.
When I've been pulled over, I've been told, you were driving at this speed
Yes.
over
In
the speed limit.
contravention of this law,
So,
blah, blah, blah.
I still do
But I
not
don't still-
understand tonight what law.
Okay, but you're
I've
not supposed to
broken.
get together. Okay,
What
this
is
is under
that
the
rule?
public health law. Okay, so now I'm asking you for a piece of ID. If you don't
So-
agree with that, if you don't agree with the fine, that's okay. But you're gonna have to fight it in court. This is not gonna be resolved here right now tonight.
I understand that.
All right, so it's as simple as that.
So what's your take on what was happening there? Is it that they don't properly understand the laws themselves, or they think they gave you enough of an explanation and they were patient enough, like the officer said?
I don't think that they believe in the laws that they were trying to enforce, to be honest. I had a conversation with some of them that were off record, and you could see first of all, I think that they were very polite, the best that they could be. So I respect them for trying to do their best to enforce these laws, knowing that we were not feeling very warm about receiving these tickets. We weren't trying to be hostile about it, but we were certainly expressing our concerns. And I do believe that they were trying their best to work with that and to understand that they're infringing upon people who are not criminals in any way, right? So I don't feel that they were doing the best job that they could be doing for themselves. Like, I don't feel like this is what they feel is the right job for them to be doing. And they were pretty polite about having to deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe that they believe in their job when it comes to handing out these fines.
Yeah, well, it's definitely difficult to keep saying I'm just doing my job and infringe on people's rights at the same time. Now, another interesting part of the conversation that you guys had was when you started asking. So one of the birthday stars of the evening was your guys' daughter as well, right?
Yeah.
And you guys asked about what age are these fines starting to come out, and it was 14, which was that the age she'll be next year or something, or?
The next day. So she's now 14.
Yeah.
Oh, right, the next day. So, yeah. So, but what's really interesting there is you guys you hit it on the nail there where you connected that there is discretion. These officers on one hand say they're just doing their job and you can fight these fines in courts and, let the courts decide. But you guys got the officer to admit that, that is what the law allows them to do, but it doesn't mean it's what they're doing.
And at what age do you start handing fines out to? If there's
Under the penal code, it's 14 years old.
oh golly, good thing your birthday's tomorrow, Razzie. Otherwise, you'd also have a ticket.
You would have had one too, Raz.
Wow, would that be fun? Have to give a ticket to a 14-year-old?
I'm not saying that we give fines to 14 years old people. I'm saying that the law allows us to give fines when you get 14 years
So
old.
you have.
So you do have some judgment.
Under the same reason that under the criminal code, a child, once he reaches 12 years old, can be charged. Doesn't mean that it ends this way. This means just legally
So
they can be charged with that.
So you do have some judgment that you can apply.
Yes, indeed.
Of course.
So what's your take on that?
Well, full disclosure, I can answer
Sure.
to that in this way. One of the officers did speak up and say, well, yes, we have discretion. And I said, well, why don't you apply discretion for the whole group, for two little girls' birthday party?
Mm-hmm.
Say, well, we asked you all leave, and that would have been at least an hour and a half or two before, and you didn't leave, and so they I guess, contacted quarters to get a warrant to enter the house.
Yeah, they were in the
So,
backyard too.
you know, on the one were they very civil with us and polite and respectful. On the other hand, they were police state tactics. They weren't prepared to show any discretion. We didn't want to leave.
Now, it didn't even end there, as you guys are saying. It seems to have gone on past, you know, the following or the next day and the Sunday. Now, Shane, maybe you can talk a bit about what happened after you were fined for being at the birthday party.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously at the birthday party, things happened as we've discussed so far. You know, one of the things that I felt that I really wanted to do, I know that these officers are not just going to go, oh, wow, look at this information you're giving us. And like, things don't change in people's minds right away. Right. The goal for me was just give them some information. Hopefully it will percolate, you know, and then over time, they might start to question things more. And that's really the goal with all of this, because you know that they're not just going to turn on a dime and be like, oh yeah, you're right, this is totally unconstitutional. So it's about doing things in a progressive manner. And hopefully some of what we said will resonate, you know, at least at some point. Mm-hmm. That was the main thing. 2 days later, they ended up coming to my gym. I got a call from my head CrossFit coach, Cedric Lapointe, and he basically said that the officers came, you know, and he had gone outside, and he didn't have his keys with him because his girlfriend had dropped him off, and then she came back, dropped off his keys to him so he could get back in the gym, but they wouldn't even let him in the gym. And he was outside for about 45 minutes in a pair of shorts, okay, sweaty, and just a t-shirt, freezing. And they were asking him all sorts of crazy questions like, how many speeding tickets have you had in the last 6 months? And where were your tickets? Where have you had, like, they were asking him all these questions that are completely crazy. I mean, the guy is sitting there freezing cold. And when I finally got there, I said, you know, why are you harassing, you know, one of my employees? And they basically said to me that, well, we know that you're running your gym again. And I said, no, we're not running the gym. The gym's closed. Well, we've seen your customers coming out. I said, you have not seen any customers coming out, because I know what happens in my gym and there's been no customers in the gym. I'd just like to know why you guys are here.
Because we have some information that the gym is still running, which is an infraction to the law of the public health service.
Where did you get this information?
Well, also from internet, also from observation that we have, and also we saw some clients coming out from the
There's no clients coming to the gym. The gym is completely closed for all clients. There's not been a single client training in the gym since October 22nd. Okay. But the coaches, when they have to do a Zoom class, will go in and do that. When they have to prepare for the Zoom classes, they go in and do that. When they have to do their programming, they go and do that. And they're in there either by themselves or with their partner.
Unfortunately, sir, today there was no filming of Zoom class today.
Okay, so then they're doing preparations for it, programming.
Well, unfortunately, this is prohibited.
No, it's not prohibited.
Yes.
It is not prohibited for them to prepare for their Zoom classes.
Actually, the person told us that he was training here.
Okay, so when we have advanced athletes, you can't program something that you don't test yourself. So they're testing things to make sure that it's going to be safe.
Okay. Well, today this is what was happening. Today was training. This is what he said to us. So unfortunately, it was contrary to the regulation in place. So today we have to advise you that it is considered as an infraction to the public health law. But because you never have been before warned for that infraction, for today it's only a warning.
And they told me that why have you boarded up all your windows? And I just told them straight out. I said, listen, I have a sizable investment in the gym, and there's not many people at the gym very much. So because there's not many people there, I want to keep it safe. And, again, same thing, was just trying to give them some information so hopefully they would think about things. But I don't like it when they kind of try to bait you with things like, well, we know you're running classes again, when it's not happening.
Well, obviously that would be bothersome. And the fact that they stated that based on the birthday party, they've looked into you further and now they're coming at your business. And maybe you can speak about Tanya. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what happened to her at her dance studio in the same weekend.
Well, actually, Karen is Tanya's sister, and Karen is a co-owner at the dance studio, and she actually was called to the studio when the police arrived. So I'll let her speak for herself.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us, Karen.
Hi, yes, thank you for having me. So I received a very frantic phone call from one of my young teachers Saturday after the birthday party. So I contacted her. She was messaging me and I called her. I said, I'm coming right over. Actually, the female officer on site, I asked my teacher to pass her the phone, and I requested that she not talk to anyone until I was there because there were minors on the premises. So I drove there, and unfortunately, when I got there, the male officer was in the basement of my building, holding open the door, and I walked into two very scared 16, 17-year-olds. So I was actually quite disappointed. So when I walked in, I looked at the officer. I said, hello, I'm the director of the studio. I'm here on site. I'd like to say that I'm actually disappointed that you're already questioning my employees and my students. Mm-hmm. And he continued to tell me that, well, they don't need to be afraid. And I said, I get nervous with police officers. I said, and they're minors, so I'd appreciate you, I would have appreciated you waiting. And then he returned to me and he said, well, I'm not going to eat them, which I found very inappropriate. So the girls were there. They cleaned our studio. They're friends. They cleaned the studio. They had their masks on, and they were quite upset.
Now, you guys are aware of our Fight the Fines program, where we have top-notch lawyers who are freedom defenders, who are committed to really fighting these fines. You guys received thousands upon thousands of them as a family. And we want to formally extend our invitation to fight those fines on your behalf at no cost to you, thanks to our amazing supporters who donate at fightthefines.com. Would you guys like to accept that?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well,
very much,
yes,
Drea.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
On top of that, I would just like to commend Rebel News for the voice that they're giving people in Canada, because nobody else will give them a voice. Thank you.
There you have it. An entire family deemed lawbreakers, criminals of some sort, basically, for giving a birthday party to their child. This is the sad reality we've been forced to live with thanks to our bureaucrats and politicians and how they've commanded. We live with COVID-19. Next, I'm going to introduce you to Christina Mukari, the top-notch lawyer we've hired to fight this family's fines and whom we've also teamed up with on other fines to get her take on this situation.
Police officers have to be careful when they're addressing issues like these. Although they might feel like they're acting according to the powers that they're being granted in virtue of the law, the general public can perceive this differently, right? So it's obvious that depending on the lenses, the kind of lenses that you put on, you might see, you might have different perspectives. So I can tell you that law enforcement is allowed to intervene in situations where there's reasonable doubt that a law or a bylaw is being violated. Now, it's all about the way it's being done, right? That's another story. It's case by case. So police officers can and most likely will intervene in a situation where they feel like a law is being violated, whether it's for a gathering or a business remaining open in times of COVID when they're not allowed to be. They're allowed to make an illegal behavior stop immediately, right? They're also allowed, for example, to ask for people to identify themselves so they can give them tickets. So there's different powers that they're being granted. On another note, police officers can also act on information that they're being given. So for example, if they come across information regarding an individual having an illegal behavior, such as hosting a party at their house, or a business that is open in violation of the law, they can use this information and investigate on it in order for the behavior to stop. Now, there's a fine line between investigating and harassment. So I don't believe that it's unreasonable for a police officer to investigate on a specific situation But it would be, I wouldn't say it's reasonable for a police officer to purposely investigate into, let's say, the livelihoods of individuals for the sole purpose of perpetually issuing new tickets. So it all depends on how it's being done, really. They can't use illegal tactics, harass people, use, offensive behaviors to issue tickets or investigate behaviors.
Well, thank you so much for adding some clarity to that for all of us, really, as this is all new to most of us. And unlike yourself, the average person isn't equipped in knowing the law for situations like this. Now, how has it been? What has your strategy been fighting these types of fines in general?
Right. I mean, it's case by case. Again, we first contact the clients, we speak to them, and we evaluate their situation, and we look at different elements in their story, right? So, for example, what kind of ticket did they get? Is it for illegal gatherings? Is it for not respecting the curfew, for not wearing your masks? So our strategy is going to depend on the type of ticket they receive. Now, the circumstances of the issuance of the ticket. Were there many people? Are there witnesses that can testify and help each other out? Is it a group of people that receive the same ticket? So that would lead, for example, to a joint trial where evidence is the same for every single person. Also, how the police officers conducting themselves towards the people that receive the tickets. And then it's all a matter of, what kind of legal arguments do you want to bring forth as your defense? So, for example, a medical exemption for not wearing your mask? Or are we talking about a worker that was in transit from work to home and was not respecting your curfew for that reason? So it's really a case-by-case situation, analyzing every single element of your file, and then forging your strategy around these elements.
Well, thank you so much for being a lawyer with enough courage to take a stand, fight the good fight, I like to say, for everything that's going on. And we'll be following this case and this story. For those who are watching, if you would like to help us cover the fees to hire Christina to fight for this family, please head to fightthefines.com. Thank you again, Christina.
Thank you, Drea.
Enough is enough. We deserve to be free. God made us as such, and public health officers don't get to determine that. That's my opinion anyway. If you agree with anything remotely clear to that, please head to fightthefines.com so that we can all do something about this. We don't need to take a stand. Whatever you donate there helps support any of the people who have tried to live life and received a tyrannical fine because of it. Thank you so much.